is Ina and welcome to One Book a Week. In this episode, we will be talking about a shorter book than normal because unlike what I have promised, I did not have spent every day reading physically. I do listen to some audiobooks and read on my Kindle, but the One Book a Week premise is going to have a shortcut this time with a very short book because I have been quite busy doing other things. So work has been quite normal and other responsibilities, but I have been fairly addicted to creating friendship bracelets. So far this is my stash, and I am planning to give this out to fellow armies during J-Hope's tour here in Manila, regardless if I get tickets or not, just because I want to share love to some fellow army. But I do also think of it as like a physical manifestation that I'll get to go because I'm just claiming it. So yeah, today I'll be reading this very short book of the month book. So this is Sophie Kinsella's What Does It Feel Like? And look at how thin it is. So there. So this is just 100 or so pages. Let me check. So this is just 120 pages. So I'm sure I could read this in one sitting. I was shocked to see that I think this is my thinnest book of the month book ever, and I got this one as an add-on, so it's $11 for 120 pages. And I think another reason why I think I could finish this, aside from the short pages, is see how big the letters are. It's a large print book and 120 pages, so I'm sure it's gonna fly through. So instead of showing you the entirety of my week, what it looked like, I'll just be reading this right now and I'll be sharing you my thoughts along the way. So I'm using this cute page marker, bookmark, from my brother. He gave it to me last December. So it's spelled coffee. I don't know if I'll ever get to use it because, again, this is so thin. So it's the perfect cheat or hack for my One Book a Week challenge. So yeah, I'm entering this one blindly because what else should 120 pages be about? So I don't know. I have read Sophie Kinsella's some of Sophie Kinsella's works when I was a teenager, like the Shopaholic series, Remember Me. I've had quite a few, and the first ever book I added on my Goodreads TBR that I haven't read still after more than 10 years is 20s Girl. So I'm sure that I would appreciate the writing style, but I do want to see how the author has grown as well. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's a romance book. I don't know if it's a romance book, a women's fiction book, a literary fiction book. I don't know. So yeah, let's just dive in. Hello friends, and after about half an hour, I am here to report that I am done reading Sophie Kinsella's What Does It Feel Like? And right now, minutes immediately after I've finished reading the book, I am still at a loss about what I really feel like, especially after that author's note, because What Does It Feel Like tells the story of Eve. She is an author, very celebrated. Her books are bestsellers, and she feels like luck has been on her side until the moment she asks and wonders when would this luck run out. And after, so the book is divided into before and after, and at the after part, we witness Eve waking up at the hospital room, and that's where we discover that she has been diagnosed with a big C, And the rest of the book talks about how she handles her cancer diagnosis, how her family, particularly her husband and her 5 children, handles this condition, and how she deals with it with um, having a huge chunk of her brain taken away and having trouble with her short-term memory. So she keeps on forgetting things, and you see the impact it has on her, since her words, the beauty of her writing, is like her lifeblood. And not being able to like remember things, even the simplest of words, even remembering that you're sick, remembering that you have been falling, that you can't walk. We see all of that in how she handles it, all her innermost thoughts. And honestly, while I was breezing through the book, I felt the heaviness. I got to the author's note, and that's where we discovered that this book is kind of autobiographical, as it talks about Sophie Kinsella's own journey in her cancer diagnosis. So basically, the main plot points of this book, the journeys of the main character, is actually reflective of Sophie Kinsella's own journey, her husband Henry's journey, and her 5 children's journey. It's a mirror. Even talking about Eve's best work is reminiscent of the Confessions of a Shopaholic success. So that's where it kind of gave me a bit of a whiplash as I entered the book blindly. And I haven't really been following Sophie Kinsella, though younger me has loved all of her works at that time. But it's been a really long time since I last picked up a book of hers. But I do see her name among bookshelves, and I didn't know she was struggling with her health. And this, I feel like, was a very healing for her, as she just gives it all out, pours it all out in this book. And it's kind of a letter to those who love her, her family, her friends, and us, her readers, who have supported her along her author journey. And it was very surprising for me, and a little hurt as well for her, because you could really see the fear, the sadness, the hope, and all of those emotions in the writing. As short as the book may be, the impact was there. And yeah, it was a really good read, and I am left with only well wishes for Sophie Kinsella, hoping that the next years of her life would be good to her. I hope that she goes into remission and live a long life with her husband and her children. Now, when it comes to rating the book, it's really hard because, it's hard to rate nonfiction. But again, as she mentioned in her author's note, this is still very much a fiction book. She has changed some details. She has changed some plot points that would make the story more impactful. And for me, this is a 5-star read because she is still the Sophie Kinsella I have learned to love when I was younger. As heavy as this book may be, her writing style, the wit and the banter still made it lighter at some point, at many points, and the message is there. It evokes a ton of emotions, and you find yourself, despite the 120-page length, to be rooting for the main character and her loved ones. So I am hoping that we get to see more of Sophie Kinsella's work still. I hope she still gets to write, as it is, after all, the thing she loves doing the most. But if she decides to make the most of her time with her children and her husband, I am also rooting for her in that way. So yeah, that we are ending this week's vlog in that note, and I would like to thank you for following the One Book a Week episodes, and I hope I get to see you on the next one. If you have book recommendations, please feel free to comment them down below. And again, thank you so much for watching. This is Ina, and may you always be in the mood for reading. Bye!